Good morning, West Coast. Good afternoon, East Coast. Hello, friends in between. Welcome, everyone, to our 16th in a series of Denticon webinars. I hope you've been to every single one of them. This one is going to be all about letters. Let's communicate with our patient. My name is Kathleen Lee, Director of Customer Care. Today is Wednesday, May 3rd, 2017. This is live. I hope it's a great day for you all. Today's topic, letters, communicating with our patients, is going to be presented by, drumroll, Charmaine Beershank, Assistant Director of Customer Care, a great resource of knowledge, not only in Denticon, but in many aspects of the dental field. She lives it. As you know, the webinar format is 45-minute presentation, 15 minutes Q&A. After the webinar, a recording will be sent to you all for replay and review. And it'll be posted as well in the help portal, help portal, for easy reference for any of your team members. So even if you weren't here at the webinar, you're going to get an email with the webinar. If you want to refer one of your staff members to it, there's Charmaine going to help portal. And we have all of the webinars that we've ever done, all 15 and soon to be this one, 16, right there in the help portal. So you can just find it right there under videos, the very last option, webinars. Really great stuff. So please do visit and use that to help onboard your new staff members. Now, notice you're all on mute, but you can ask questions in the questions chat section. And I'm going to be monitoring the chat while Charmaine presents. But you might want to hold your questions a little bit, or maybe till the end, because we just might address your question, and I don't want you to miss the content as it's being covered. Today we have 100 registrants today, so good turnout. And by the way, if we don't happen to get to your question, right back onto that good old help portal, submit a ticket. We promise to reach out to you directly, and we can answer any very specific questions you might have. Now, on to the topic of patient communication, a little preamble here. Keeping in touch with our patients is an important aspect of dental care, right? It's not just doing the treatment, it's keeping in touch with them. Welcoming new patients to the practice, explaining treatment plan options, coordinating care with other referral sources, thanking patient referral sources, reminding patients to return for routine visits, and friendly nagging when we haven't seen our patients in over a year, over 2 years. All of these help us to maintain a healthy relationship with our patients and provide better care. Denticon's custom letters is easy to use, real simple, and has a lot of nice features to allow us to tweak the letters, merge various fields easily into the letters, target specific patient types, such as new patients, welcome, recall overdue patients, haven't seen you for your cleaning and over, last visit patients, did you realize it's been over 2 years since we last see you? While we all provide a saved, stored PDF of that letter, so you can review it, you know you sent it, and even the ability for stored signatures, medical legal, which is pretty cool, huh? Alrighty, Charmaine, so go for it. On to the topic of patient letters, communicating with our patient. Bravo.
Drumroll. Hey, everybody, welcome. We're so glad that you are here. Yes, absolutely. Well, if you have been to any of our webinars, you know that we do like to take occasional polls just to get an understanding about who's in the session, who we are addressing, who's attending, and lets us understand you much better and lets us understand how Denticon can be potentially more responsive for you folks in your offices. So we're very grateful that you do quickly weigh in on those polls so that we can continue the presentation. And we do look like we have a really quick response. It's kind of going back and forth. It looks like a horse race on our end as we watch those polls come in. Some are going ahead and the horse is going to the nose, and somebody's coming ahead and somebody's banging, and it's just wonderful. But it does look like that has, yes, indeed, slowed down just a bit. So we're going to close that poll for a moment, and we're going to share that information with you really quickly right there. And it looks like we have a vast majority of multi-location practices here in our session today. We really appreciate everyone being here. And so what we will do is just hide that poll and let us continue with the process. All right, very good. So let's just show my screen, get us into Denticon, get us started on that task? Well, the first thing is, how am I able to set up the letters that I can generate for my patient? That's the very first step. We have to start at the beginning. And Kathleen and I usually break out into song at that point. If you've ever seen us in your offices, you know that we do have a tendency to break out in song, so that would be the song from Sound of Music. Let's start at the very beginning. All right, let's go to reports. Let's go to custom and custom letter. This is a little bit of an anomaly. Usually in things that are input into your office, it's in the setup string. But in this case, because we are generating documents, letters, documents, questionnaires, things like that for our patients, we are able to do that through the reports because we generate documents all through this string of reports. So that makes it more sense to have it right here. So if you're ever wondering why it's over here rather than in setup, that's the reason why. We generate documents right through here. So we set them up right here. So if we look at custom and custom letter, we have the opportunity to see any letters which are input in your location. And the letters are location specific. So I click right up here at the top center of my screen, showing that I'm currently logged into Dental Excellence location, and I have two different locations. The letters can be the same in each location. I just pick one location as my master location, input the desired letters I want for my entire organization, and then I've got a quick, easy function to be able to copy everything from one location to everything that might be here in my drop-down list. Likewise, I could have a completely different set of letters for this location versus this location. So if that's the case, I would make my change of letters here in this location. I would then switch to my Great Smiles location and be able to make my letter entries here for the other location. So they can be the same, they can be different. Keep aware that if you do use the utility copy function, and let's just show that to you, presuming that I want all of my letters to be the same in all of my locations, and I put them into one master location, I've got the utilities and my copy function, copy function and my copy letters right there. Be aware that this gives you very clear screen information. Please note, all the letters from all other offices will be deleted, cannot be returned, cannot be retrieved, cannot be replaced. Deleted is gone, bye-bye, and they will be repopulated with the selected office's letters. So for instance, if I say that Dental Excellence is my master location and I've made the changes of all my letters within the Dental Excellence location, I can copy those letters from this location to all the offices. All or nothing, period, end of conversation. Again, there is no way to say I only want them for particular offices versus other offices. If you want a unique situation per location, please visit each location to make the changes in the individual letters. All right, that's a really great function available to help our vast majority of attendees here, the multi-location practices, but it might be something that could cause a little hiccup and issue if you do have unique letters per location. All right. So let's not belabor that any further. Let's go here, custom letter. All right. Again, you've got a listing of all of the documents that your office has populated within your location. You are not necessarily stuck with the ones that we have perhaps pre-populated for you. You can add any letter as you want. If you notice, there's an option here in the lower left-hand corner, add new letter. All right, so maybe I want to tweak any letter that I want. Perhaps I want to, let's see, patient consent. I can also isolate these down, by the way. If you notice, I've got a filter. Instead of looking at all of my letters, I just want to take a look at all of my patient consent documents. And there they are, all selected for me, all of them assigned to the letter type patient consent. All right, so I'm looking at this and I don't really see anything that I want to add. I can add another letter as I do. As I consider that, if you were in attendance in our seminar about working on progress notes and making them customizable for the doctor to be able to click, pick, and choose through a pick list or through question prompts, the very same things, yay, are available in the letters as well. So before we start adding a new letter, which I'm going to use a pick list in the letter that I'm going to add, I'm going to use some question prompts to be able to quickly customize the document on the fly for the patient as I generate it. I need to first review, do I have the pick list that I wish to use? So let's go take a look. I'm going to first consider what I want to populate. Now, I may have a letter that I have presented to myself. I have used it in the past. It's a Word document, and it's got a lot of lines that I can fill in the blank, hand filling it in, or I could generate it in Word and hand type the information. But that's just so archaic. That's just so, let's even call it 19th century, perhaps, if the 19th century had computers, and let's fast forward, 20th century certainly did. But we're in the 21st century. We want to get to the newest, latest, greatest technology. We want to make things easier for ourselves rather than having to always hand fill in something, or perhaps pull this letter up in some other software. Maybe my staff members don't always have access to Word. They only have access to Denticon programs. So let's just make that fully easy. And so what I want, for instance, right here, I want to have a pick list for all of my available doctors that I can go click, choose, done. Let's just go make that happen. All right, so in my setup, let's go to pick list first. Let's consider all the pick lists that I need to consider for my doctors in my organization. So right here, I've already started that. I have a provider list pick list. I've gone through my setup. I've gone through providers and my provider setup to know that these are all the providers I have in my dental organization for all of my locations. Now, you may want to have a provider list per geographic or whatever you want, but the pick lists are all your own. You determine how you want those pick lists to be entered. I'd say I've only got 5 people for the 2 locations. It's easy to have one list. Perfect. With that done, I'm going to, once again, go to my custom letter, and I'm going to go to my letter template that I have, and I'm going to copy the vast majority of this business right there. All right, I'm going to Control-C, copy that business. I'm going to go here, Control-C on my keyboard, because as you know, Denticon does not allow a right-click function. You do, you get this lovely cranky message. That's okay, that's just to protect your data integrity of your patient and your financial records from potentially being hacked for code control. Perfect. I want this to be a patient consent document. Number one, that allows me to classify it in the way that I can find it very easily. Number two, it allows my patients to sign electronically, and I want my office to be much more efficient to be able to electronically sign that rather than having to print it, having them sign, and having to scan that into my documents, into my patient records. So right here, I'm going to copy the body of my Word document by using Control and V as in Victor, or Control V as in paste, to put that document right into place. I don't necessarily have to hand type that anymore. Yay, I love it. Lovely, lovely, lovely. The bells are ringing and the birds are flying and everything is wonderful. I'm going to reach back over into my document real quick because I want this to be entitled this here, Consent for Dental Procedures. Again, I'm copying Control-C on my keyboard, Control-C for copy. I'm going to give it a name of that document, and I also am going to put on it as a title right there. The title is what appears on the document as I generate it for the patient. The name of it is just my selection list. And so maybe I really don't like to see all caps in my office, so I'm going to change that a bit. All right, that's up to you. Whatever you want in your dental organization that's fantastic and wonderful, you have full control of that. Now, I want to pre-populate my patient name on the document, and I don't necessarily want it to print the name and address. But if I do want to put the name and the patient's address, I just check mark that box. This is really great for generating letters, for instance. But this is just a document for consent, so I'm not going to do that. but I do want to pre-populate when I generate this letter, this document, to pre-populate my patient's name that I'm on. I want Denticon to help me out with that. So that's what I'm going to delete that line. I'm going to use what we call data tags. I'm going to click this data button down here, and it offers me all sorts of merge fields that I can select to populate on there, so it will populate what I'm asking it to do. So I see a great one, patient first name. I can do exactly as that hover tip says, double click to select. I'm going to put a little space there. I want the patient's last name as well for full revealing of my information, better record keeping. There's a great one, patient last name. Wonderful. I also, as I generate this, I don't really care to hand type or hand key or hand put anything in there. I'm going to, again, take that line out, use my data tag as well. The very last option happens to be today's date. That's a really cool thing to memorize, today's date. So right there, I also have in here, so-and-so. Well, I just want to do this. I've already selected them. I've already got them in there. Control-C. I'm going to click there, paste that in. Boom, done. I'm going to authorize. Who is it I'm authorizing? Well, that's where I'm going to do perhaps my question prompt. My staff is going to be able to select exactly which provider is treating that patient today. So here's where I'm going to use add question, just as we did for our progress note macros. Who is the treating provider for today? I already have a pick list for that. I'm going to check mark the box, select my pick list. It's my provider list that I looked at just a moment ago. Add that question into the template of that letter. And so once again, it's an at question prompt to say who is the treating provider, and it's going to give me a bracket, use the pick list that's already predefined. All right, so now I've got a lot of things here that it looks like I can hand key for the specific information for that patient. Well, that's not ideal for a pick list. That's actually ideal for just a question prompt. So I'm going to add a question. What is, not all caps, what is being done today? All right, I'm just going to add the question. It's going to stop me for a prompt. And again, I've got that ability to copy paste. So I've got this right here that I can do. Right there, perfect. Treating provider for the day. Treating provider again, quick and easy, copy, paste. Well, this one right here again is a question prompt. I'm going to highlight copy, see that one. I'm going to add a question. There you go, fill that in. What is the relationship? Copy, paste. Actually, I put my question prompt, so I put my indicator who that is. All right, so I'm going to put that right back there. That's a good way to resolve that. Sorry about that. Error, human error right there. Perfect. All right. So relationship, I'm going to copy. I'm going to put that in as a question prompt. Very good. And I'm going to sign that. Since I'm going to electronically sign everything, I'm going to take this away because the patient is going to be able, patient or relative or guardian, whoever the case is going to be able to electronically sign that. So I'm going to take that away. No need for that. But I'm going to now say this is who the doctor of record needs to be recorded for this very quickly. And again, use my today date. Very good. And if I really just want to go hit that data tag, I certainly could. If I just really wanted to re-input that question prompt, I certainly could. But I'm really lazy. If you've known in the past webinars, I wear that rusty crown called the Queen of Lazy, which means I let things be more efficient for myself by using copy and paste. Have a wonderful document right there. I'm going to leave everything as it is, but you do notice that you do have another option here as well, which would pre-populate in the upper left-hand corner. Let's do that. Let's just do that just to see that that can happen. All right, I've got everything in place. I'm going to click Save. Perfect. Fantastic. I have a great new letter. It's in my patient consent section. It's electronically signable, has lots of great opportunities for hand keying information, for using a question prompt, also using for pick list in those prompts. So let's just go generate that document for that patient. One clarification, and the Denticon support team gets this question a little periodically, that people come to this letters icon. We do recognize that, yes, it's there, and they attempt to use, perhaps, and again, generating that patient consent document right here, and trying to generate it for this patient that I'm going to do. This, as a caveat, this screen, the full letter function, is, even though this says, yes, you have the opportunity to do it for a particular patient, this one is not the most efficient way to do a single letter or a single patient. This screen is ideally intended to do mass generations of a lot of letters or a lot of patients all at once. And so this just is a bit onerous to do it for that one single patient. So if we do have a single patient, ideally the thing is to take up that patient's record to the screen anywhere you are in that patient's record. You could be on their transaction entry. You could be on their ledger. You could be on their treatment plan. You could be on their overview screen. But as long as you have that patient record on the screen, you can do a very easy, very efficient way to generate a document for that patient. Click the Print Reports icon. You notice that patient's name at the top of the list. Let's go to the letters function here and the bottom, toward the bottom of that listing. We want to select our category, patient consent in this particular instance. It now allows me to see all of my patient consent documents. Well, there right at the top is the one that I just input. Perfect. And there we go. And so let's click Print Preview. Now I have the opportunity to use my pick list right there. Who is treating my patient for the day? Thomas Ford. What is being done today? I've got her in for a root canal, followed by a post and core, and the FM crown. All right. Then I've got treating provider. I've got the ability treating provider as well. Who is my patient? Patient name is Catherine Lee. All right, she is here. She's signing on her own behalf, so it's a self-relationship. And once again, populating my provider. Perfect. I'm going to click Print Preview, and boom, on the screen right there, we get the opportunity to see that generates that document, full-fledged, full out, right there, fills in everything, puts in my dental office name, address, and telephone numbers, my email contact for my office, and tells me who my patient is. Boom, auto-populated date. Boom, auto-populated. Boom, auto-populated name within the text of the document. Fills in all those quick businesses about who my treating provider is per my selection. Fills everything in. And you notice with an electronic signature pad, my patient can now come down here and, very good, sign that document. She's done. I don't necessarily have to have a signature by my office staff. Don't hang up again, as we may have talked in the past documents. Don't worry about that saying dentist signature. That can be office signature, dental assistant signature, hygiene signature, whoever you want. And so if we do, I want a second signature. We've got a second signature availability from the office. Click Save PDF File to capture those two signatures right there within that document. Perfect. That also dropped a copy of this in the patient's record. And now you've got patient signature, and you've got the dentist or dental office's signature right there as well. Auto captures the date for those on a signature as well. Wonderful, easy, quick, fast, efficient, fantastic. I love that so much. So now let's go take a look at where that got recorded. Let's go to the notepad icon right here. And we see that that consent for dental procedures was saved on a particular date and time, captured on the Pacific Standard server system. It's not on your individual computer. It's not on your individual office servers. It's on our servers in the California time zone. I can take a look at it right here by clicking the paperclip. Brings that right back up to my screen, letting me take a look at that, because perhaps in time, Ms. Cleve says, hey, by the way, I never gave you consent. And you say, wait a minute, I'm out. On May 3rd, we auto-generated a document for you, and it says that we described to you what we were going to do and that you understood it, especially in lay terms, and that, you even signed it. So do believe, Ms. Cleve, forgive us for pointing this out, that we do believe that you did approve that treatment. And so that is a great way to capture that document, capture that patient's signature, and be able to prove to that patient that they did. Now, when you generated that, you can also, as we saw, you can print that off for that patient to let them have a copy. And so you're only generating one document of copy paper for that. So that's a great way. Number one, you're efficient. You don't have to worry about paper in your office, but you can hand that printed copy over to the patient so they too have a copy. We do get that question, how am I going to be able to copy that and save my office staff efficiency and my office paper costs as well? So those are great, great ways. You've got, again, let's just go take a look at that report and custom letter, that when you do add any new letter or even edit an existing letter, you have data tags, you have the ability to add a question only, or using a pick list as well from what you have already predefined that to be. Perfect, fantastic, wonderful, and fabulous. We love it. All right, very good, very good. So for the next little poll, we do like to know, as you know, that all the things that people use and don't use in Denticon, are you even aware of this feature? Do you use this feature? Are you aware of maybe all the things that we do have for opportunity in there? So we do appreciate that weighing in of those responses. Perfect. We love it. Good. Once again, everybody racing to get to an answer. We do love it. We can see those people who are just eager to weigh in, and we certainly do very much appreciate that. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, so seems like it has slowed down. Let's just close that and share that information with you right there. Hand in hand, overwhelming usage of the documents. We love that. For those of you who are not using it currently, we do encourage that you consider that for your office. Perfect. All right. Well, also in patient communication, as you know, people have the ability to fill in their medical alerts online. And so if you do make that opportunity online on your website or even in a kiosk usage in your office for them to let them know that you're there or that they are there and that they update their medical history, sometimes those medical alerts, we'd like to help them out be more efficient and quicker and easier and faster. Let them give some responses that we quickly build in for them rather than just yeses and nos. So for instance, in our setup and in our medical setup, perhaps in our dental questionnaire, we want to add a question into our medical questionnaire that not only asks them, do they have any issues with hot and cold, or do they have issues with brushing and flossing, and all of these other wonderful things. Maybe we want to add another assessment of their own of how do they feel their general health is. So I'm going to add a new questionnaire, and you might think that that's not associated to letters and documents, but it really is. We want to make their life in their document world easier as well. So I'm going to add a new letter here, a new entry into my dental questionnaire. How is your general dental health condition? Whoop, there we go. I'll popularize it. There you go. And so I have the ability in a pick list that I know because of usage that I have some conditions I can offer in this list. Not only do I have the ability, yes, it could be a checkbox, yes, no. It could be a text box which just lets them put in a few short text of words, a few characters of words. It could be a date format. It could be a memo format, which offers more opportunities of more text, but still limited at the same time. It could be a yes, no option, but in this case, I want it to be my pick list of a condition. I'm going to click the Save option here. I'm going to take a quick review of where that is. Let that see that that added it to my list, and it happens to be way down here at the very bottom, and maybe I want to move that up way up here toward the top, maybe a little bit further, maybe right underneath my last X-ray condition. I'm going to click Cancel to there. I'm going to highlight that option. I'm going to move that up one item at a time, get that exactly where I want that to lay into my overall view of my medical questionnaire, general questionnaire. And that I could certainly have the same general question in my medical questionnaire much in the same way. Getting that moved right there one at a time, reviewing exactly where I want. That looks like a great thing. Let me go take a look at that. Click Proof and Finalize. Take a look. That's exactly where I want it to be. There's my pick list that's going to offer those options not only to my staff, if I have to hand put this in on behalf of my patient, but it also lets my patient use this online. I like that opportunity. Let's click Save. We see that. Let's go to Ms. Cleves. She's asked us to update her medical history. The last time we did that medical history to her was, wow, a long time ago, November 30th of 2016. Yes, she's quite due for a medical update. So I'm going to collapse that section. I'm going to add a new medical history because I've not yet accessed her medical history prior to the change, so it will let me have that opportunity to say, yeah, it needs improvement. She's here for a root canal. She knows she has some dental issues, and so we're going to change that. Now, based on some tickets we have been seeing, just as an FYI, we have been seeing issues that if you try to save a medical history, that it's prompting you that there's not a date accurately recorded. Here is a perfect example. This is not an accurate date format that Denticon is looking for. It says it's only May 2016. I need to actually make that in a month, date, year format. 2 digits for the month, 2 digits for the date, 4 digits for the year. So she doesn't really remember the exact last cleaning date, so we're just going to take a stab at that for her. We're going to say 05/01/2016, and we're going to do the same thing for here. We're going to extricate that, put that X, 05/01/2016. We'll have your finger right there. And because I know that perhaps the medical questionnaire might have a similar issue, I'm going to review that really quickly, see if I have any outlier cranky date items there. I do not. Goodness, I like that. Now I'm going to be able to say, if she is looking at this change in our operatory, in the privacy of the operatory, she can electronically sign that as well. And so we're going to get her to sign that there. And once again, don't hang up too much that says dentist. It's dental office ability. It could be the assistant. It could be the hygienist. It could be whoever is there. So I'm going to click Done. Whoever is making that entry for her. I'm going to click the Save button there. Save that new change to her medical and dental histories. Right there it is. Yes, it needs improvement. And I have an electronic signature on both the patient side as well as the dental office side. Likewise, her patient overview is now reflecting that we updated her medical history as of today. Perfect. Fantastic. usage of our staff's time. We can have easier customization on that patient record by using things that we pre-populate in pick lists, giving question prompts, and overall it just gives us a better, more legal record keeping in our patient record. So we hope that you enjoy that. Kathleen, we have reached the end of what we plan to present. Are there any questions that are coming in from our attendees here that we need to address?
Yeah, so Charmaine, how about recall postcards? Not necessarily a letter, but yes, still part of communication. If we could touch upon that a little bit.
Sure, absolutely. We kind of hope to do that in our next webinar. So we're going to clear that up in more in depth in recall. We plan to do a recall opportunity, a visit next time. So drum roll, you got a little heads up about what we're planning. But we can, yes, go to reports. We can set up custom postcards the way that we want them to read in custom postcards. Notice that in the edit of any postcard, it's only a data tag opportunity because the recall postcards or any of the postcards are intended for mass generation of a lot of different postcards all at once. So the customization per patient is not an opportunity using question prompts and pick lists, but data tags, yes, are that you can quickly, in this case, say, hey, dear so-and-so, we want to remind you of that upcoming due date for your recall in this case. Yes, absolutely. And so to generate those postcards would, since they are all for mass generation, they would be in this link here for reports and postcards. Right there, we've got those opportunities to generate various postcards here. Perfect, great question. But yeah, we'll cover that more in depth on the next round.
Okay, thank you, Charmaine. And then if you can show a little bit about batch letters, some of the targets there that you have would be awesome to us.
Perfect. Anyone in particular that might have been questioned or that we want to cover?
So how about on, in terms of the marketing letters, everybody whose first visit was, so that would be new patients, and anybody who we haven't seen in a long time, that would be last patient. I think that would help to answer.
Sure. So by first visit date, and of course having that date range to match the parameter that you select. So we've been doing these, as we said, for a bit over a year. So let's just go back to the very first one, December of 2016. I've lost track. 2015, I think it was. And so I've got all sorts of other parameters. What is the actual letter, marketing letter that I wish to do? So maybe after my first visit, I can generate that one. Great opportunity. If I have a logo embedded into my office setup, then office and corporation setup, I can choose that if I want to. Other parameters here as far as font size, you're limited to certain limited fonts if you want, font sizes as well, keeping in mind that it'll generate for all of them. There you go. Click print and preview, and there it says, I've got a little bit of a little conundrum there, that it would say, let's just do it for 1 12-month period. All right, so let's just do that. Vast majority of the patients I know in this account for our webinars, we have done most entries all of last year, so we'll just do that. Perfect. So January 1st, 2016 through December 31st, 2016. Do I want to add a patient note, a little pop-up prompt? If I say yes, very important because we do get occasional tickets about this. Why in the world did all of my patients get notated that they got this letter when they shouldn't have? Well, it's probably because someone got this, disregarded a pop-up perhaps, and said, yeah, go ahead. And so just instead of one patient that I might have been on that I intended this one letter for, I said, yeah, generate it for everyone. But be cautious about your pop-ups. Make sure that you read those. If I do not want that notation for this document to be recorded anywhere in the patient's notepad icon, then I would say no. But I'm going to say, yep, let's just go ahead just for grins. And there you go. So watch those pop-ups throughout the Denticon program. Make sure they're exactly what you expect to happen. So right there, Mr. Hilton came in, and we generated a letter. Perfect. Next person that we saw came in, Ben Bright. Next person in that document generation, I'm a Bright, looks like perhaps a family member, Jay Jones, and it generates all of those letters for all of the patients within the parameters that I define. Perfect. Fantastic. I love it. I love that. Great question. So any of those documents, again, according to how your letter is classified, these are the options in the selections that you get. Perfect. Nice.
Yay. So Dan Yanyan is asking, how do we send out recall text? So I just sent him a little love letter in our chat. But Charmaine, if you just want to talk about how to do one email and or text in the patient overview or in the appointment book, but then I was recommending, and while you're kind of setting that up, I was recommending Denticon. Denticon is a adjunct product to Denticon, and it's similar to Lighthouse 360 or Demand Force, Solution Reach, so to speak, but it is a Denticon product, so it communicates that information right back into Denticon when patients confirm their appointments. You can have blueprints, as we call them, to target specific patients. Anybody with a particular code, send out a particular letter or text. It also does voice activation for appointment reminders too. So there's a lot of good features. It's a free demo, so I would say at least you should inquire, put in a ticket, and ask, hey, can I get a demo of Denticon? But in the meantime, as I always like to call it, here is how to send, at the very least, a text to a patient. It is individual, one patient at a time. We do have mass text called Denticon. Go for it. Thank you, Charmaine.
Perfect, perfect. Not only patient communication, but also potentially for a responsible party. The key is that the patient, if you're going to communicate with the patient by email or text, email, of course, the patient record must have an email address. If it's text, they must have a cell phone recorded. Likewise, if you wish to communicate with the responsible party by email or text, there must be a responsible party email address, and there must be a responsible party cell phone. All right, so right here under the patient drop-down list, we have the ability to email or text message. Perfect. And we've got the opportunity to choose which way we want to communicate, by email to either Catherine Cleaves, the patient first listed, or Catherine Cleaves, the responsible party person. Well, they happen to be the same one, so it's not a big issue in this one, but you could have two different names. Keep in mind, patient first, responsible party listed second. All right. Likewise, on text messaging, you have the same opportunities. First listed opportunity is the patient, because that's who you generally are communicating with for the most part, but sometimes it would be to the responsible party using the second option. All right. So email, you've got the opportunity, just like standardized email and any other email software package, put in a subject line right there. And also, it pre-populates this right here. The reason that we put this here is that some email services, Yahoo, Gmail, Hotmail, other various, all sorts of various email providers do not necessarily like the back communication. So that's why we pre-populate this here, guiding the patients. Do not please respond to this message, because it might not get to the office. Very likely would not get to the office. But instead, please call our telephone number. But you can certainly, if you want to take that out, that's up to you. But here's where you would write in the document text that you're writing. How do you like that, typing and texting? There you go. You do have the ability, yes, you can do some formatting in this as well. You've got color options. You have background options that you have right there. You've got the ability to give it a different size, a particular font, to a certain limitation there, whether or not it's a normal or a heading or standard email functions, as we all know, whether it's a bullet or a numbered item, pushing it, indented, and so forth, bolding, italicized, etc. All sorts of great opportunities there. You also can use notes macros when you populate an email text. If you have a notes macro that's pre-populated in your setup, perhaps in your other category, whatever the case may be, you can certainly add notes, macros there as well. Just another little quick and easy way to pre-populate a whole bunch of text that you normally write consistently over and over and over and over. So there you go. On text messaging, do keep in mind that text messaging rates do apply to that end user, the patient, or the responsible party. Likewise, it says, please do not reply. The reason is that most office telephones are not cell phones. And so if a patient does try to text message you back, it's going nowhere. It's going into the cyber la-la land, way out floating in space that you'll never retrieve. So that is why Denticon pre-populates this information for you, asking the patient, please do not reply to the text message, but they should indeed call to the office. Once again, if you're not really happy about that, you can certainly just take that out, put in whatever text information that you want. Once again, you can add a notes macro if you've pre-designed a note macro for that. Perfect. Does it get recorded anywhere? Absolutely it does. It will be in your patient notes that you sent out a text message in this screen. Perfect. Great question.
Yeah, Megan asked a good question. Megan Bateman, thank you. I answered, but I want to kind of say it out loud so everyone can hear it. So she says, hey, well, she didn't say hey. I said hey. What does the box to exclude patients with no correspondence? So good eyeballs there, Megan. So if you wouldn't mind sharing, let's go, to patient overview. The good old edit there. And great question, Megan. So I'm going to make sure everybody can appreciate your beautiful brain and your wonderful question there. But if you wouldn't mind, Charmaine, thank you.
Absolutely. The no correspondence indicates that the patient does not want to receive a generated postcard that you print. They don't want to be reminded of their recall by postcard. So the no correspondence deals with only that function. The no auto email and the no auto SMS deals with Denticon. They do not wish to receive an email reminder for their appointment or they are recalled you by Denticon. They do not wish to receive a text SMS message for Denticon. It does not go with Solution Reach or Demand Force or Lighthouse or any of the others. It's only for Denticon. So again, great eyeballs there, Megan. We really appreciate it. Now, please don't confuse this here, auto email and auto SMS, with what some offices get that, hey, my patient gets an email reminder of their appointment when we make it and when we cancel it and when we move it. And we were just wanting to move it around to make it easier on our office schedule. And it doesn't really matter. The patient's still going to come in at the same time. We're just moving them from column to column. And we really don't want them to get that email communication. That's not what this is about. This is, again, Denticon only. What that function is that is in question of why is my patient getting an email reminder every time I make or move or cancel an appointment? It's right here in the setup and account info. It's within this function of appointment e-card. If this says yes, that patient will, get an email communication reminder. You had an appointment made. Thank you very much. Here it is, the date and the time. We were glad to see you on that date. If you move it to a different column on that same date or a different date, they'll get a reminder that says, hey, the office has a new appointment date for you. If you cancel the appointment, the patient will receive an email communication that says you canceled your appointment. So if that's occurring, it's because of this function here in the appointment e-card setup within the setup and account info screen. Two different sets of considerations. Perfect. Any other questions there, Ms.
Sorry about that, Jermaine. Yeah, I was on mute. So Megan is mentioning it's really a quagmire, a little bit of a challenge. So when we generate a letter and include our office address, and we change the font size and the font of the body of the letter is changed, but the address and office info remains smaller font in the original text. Is there any way to change that? So I'm assuming, right, Charmaine, that's based on the logo is a set font, and it won't necessarily change the rest of the document's font to opposite, right?
Correct.
The font
Correct.
that you changed in the document doesn't necessarily change the font, the size. So it is strict. You know, we're trying to make sure that it fits within the confines of the letter. And so, no, it's not going to change the font size to correspond. Another quagmire there, too, Dr. Wunderlich, it's a little less letters, a little bit more medical history, but yes, also in terms of signing, it's really about signing. So he says, hey, Kath, when you sign a letter and you have the patient sign, you know, the dentist signature and the medical alerts, you know, disappear. So it is a locked feature, meaning those two signatures are married. And so, yep, if the patient is going to sign that medical history, then the dentist has to sign that medical history at the same time. It doesn't save the patient's signature. Then patient goes to the back. Maybe they signed up at the front, and now patient goes to the back, and now doctor wants to review it. Yep, they got to review it at the same time, meaning they're both going to have to sign at the same time. So kind of get your challenge, Dr. Wunderlich. We're aware of that. Right now, it kind of is what it is, but we're looking at that. So I just want to mention that out loud. Thank you so much. And yes, thank you. Mahalo as well. Aloha. That's Dr. Wunderlich. Couple of other things, Charmaine. Just can you show some of the data tags in a letter that has to do with balance? So for instance, if you wouldn't mind, can you show in a letter that you can include services from the ledger with fees or without fees? Treatment plan in a letter with fees or without fees. So there's some cool features that you can include in a letter. And based on what you're choosing, and that's an important part there, Charmaine knew to choose financial communiques. Why'd she go there? Based on the type of the letter, you are going to get more or less data tags to interact with. So Charmaine Vanna White is showing that we have some financial data tags that you'll find in the financial communiques category. And she Vanna Whited there, ledger transactions with fee, ledger transactions without fee, treatment plan items with fee, treatment plan items without fee. So that's nice. So if you want to mention something about a treatment plan, you want to mention something about the ledger, do you want to show fees? Don't you want to show fees? Maybe you're talking to a referring doctor and you don't want him or her referring doctor to see your fees, but you do want him to know what was diagnosed, what you're recommending, what you're referring out. You have that information there as well. So some nice features there too. Thank you. Okay, darling, let me see what else I have. Yep, go for it.
Perfect. No, do it. We're good. Very good. Great questions. I love them.
Yep, we had a question also regarding a translation of letters. So I basically said you can, of course, create a letter and put it in cualquier idioma que quieres. If you want to put it in Spanish, you can. By the way, I don't know if you realized, if your patients do use, and this might be a promotion to use, the online patient registration, because that does allow you to use Google Translate, which is pretty cool. But in terms of letters, we don't have any letters that are in Espanol, but you most certainly can, you know, create a letter in Espanol if you'd like to. And if you're using the online patient registration, a cool little feature is the ability, since it is online, it is on the web, to use the Google Translate feature. So Charmaine is showing there on the left-hand side. So they can translate that into whatever language that they want. Right now, we only have those translations that use, you know, the alphabet, so to speak. We don't have Korean Hangul sign or Chinese character, so to speak. A little bit more of a challenge right now. So that's a little bit regarding translations.
Very good. Great question.
Yep, very good question. So let's see, do we have any more preguntas? A ver. Yep, I think that's it. And Mitsu, that was Mitsu's question regarding the translation of letters. So any other questions?
Perfect.
We've got 4 minutes at the top till we hit the top of the hour. Let me see what else I had that I might have responded to on our own. Nope.
We do hope this has been beneficial for everyone. Hope that you enjoy the features.
Yep, Dan asked if there's a way to have a shortened medical update for existing patients. So once again, in that we do have existing patients can update their medical history. We're coming out with an update real soon where they'll be able to, the existing patients will be able to update their demographic information, you know, their address. If their address has changed, we're adding more as opposed to less. We don't right now have a way to say, here, if you're existing, only update you know, this short list. So the list is still the same in terms of what's already on a medical history, dental questionnaire, medical questionnaire. But we'll be adding the ability for existing patients to be able to update their address. And then we hope soon to be able to update their insurance information, but not yet, but we're getting there. And let's see if I have anything else. So yeah, so if you have any other questions, where will the recording of this webinar be available to view after this is over? Thank you, Marcus. So let's go ahead and end it with that. That's a good question. Thank you, Marcus, for feeding us that great way to end the webinar. You're going to get a copy of this, Marcus, as soon as, you know, let's say within an hour and a half. You will get an email, and it'll include a copy of a link to or a copy of the webinar. But by the way, you can always go to the help portal by going to help portal. And then Charmaine is Vanna Whiting there. If you go to the video section, the very last option says webinars. And then you'll see the last 15, soon to be added this one, which will make it 16 webinars that we've done. And so you'll be able to refer other staff members to listen, or you can go, oh, I didn't realize they had webinars on payment allocation, which is always a good challenging one. So by all means, please do go back to that. Share that with other staff members that may not have been here. Yeah. And so any other questions you have, please do put them in the help portal, submit a ticket. We can go very specific about particular questions you have. And if there's a feature that you want, by all means, we've added a new feature request, which is great because everybody can vote on your features. That's under the help portal also, but it's under a new, very much its own option, submit a feature request. So go to there and look at other people's feature requests so you can vote. Yeah, good thing. Oh, gosh, I never thought of that. Excellent. And you can vote on other people's feature requests, and we're looking at that to try to provide the most popularly requested features into the system. It's our fantabulous users that make for a fantabulous software program. All righty, well, at the top of the hour, thank you, Marcus, for a great question to end our webinar. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us on this wonderful journey of learning all about Denticon. We have these webinars every 4 to 6 weeks. I hope to see you at the next one. God bless.
Bye-bye.